These are the 4 steps that you need to do to connect with your highest self every day. I just had an amazing bath and I'm feeling super chilled and super connected, and really feel just to give you these 4 things, because these 4 things changed my whole life. And before I knew how to do these things, I wasn't connected. I was very unhappy. I was in a job that I didn't like. I didn't have a good friendship circle around me. Everything was a mess, but it was okay. And I think a lot of people are okay when they should be exceptional, when they should be living amazing lives, when they should be manifesting their wildest dreams, when they should be so excited every single day to go for whatever it is that they envision. And so that's what I'm going to share with you, these 4 things. Now, first thing, I just want to explain for anyone who doesn't know what your highest self is, what do I mean when I say your highest self? Now, some of you will know I am super into physics. I love quantum mechanics. I'm a real geek. And some of you will know that I am super spiritual. I am woo-woo as it gets. I am fully crazy. And what I love to do is combine the 2, the science and the spirituality, because for me, they are basically one and the same. And that's what I'm going to share with you here. Everything that I'm going to talk to you about, even if it sounds woo-woo, spiritual, so out there, it's science. And I have researched this stuff deep, deep, deep. And you guys can research this too if you want to. And I really encourage you, let's have a debate about it. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So first, what is your highest self? Some of you will already know what your highest self is, but just open yourself, open your mind and hear it, because I might say it in a slightly different way that might resonate with you in a different way. And if you are watching this, do comment below as well. Let me know if you have any questions about your highest self. Let me know what you think your highest self is. Let's get some engagement going on. Tell me, how do you define your highest self? So for me, when I say highest self, what I mean is this. We all, every single one of us, have the ability to connect to something much greater than us. Some people call it God. Some people call it consciousness. Some people call it source energy. Some people call it their soul. Whatever you want to call it, when I say connecting to your highest self, that's what I mean. The highest possible vibrational version of you. The version of you that is the most high vibe. Now, why is it important to connect to this? Because, and this might be a big one for some of you, but some of you will know this already. I really understand on a very deep level that time as we know it doesn't exist. Time as we know it is made up. It's a system that humans created to try and explain something that they couldn't understand. And so other cultures have different calendars. They have different ways of measuring time, but we go by the clock, right? But time doesn't really exist, and there's just one moment, which is this moment right now. The past is a story. The future is a story. None of them are actually real. None of them are happening right now. So why is that important? Because when we leave this human body, when we step up, I call it graduate, which is another word for dying, when we die, our soul, if you believe that stuff, which I do, leaves our body, goes up to another dimension, to a higher plane of reality, and time doesn't work the same there. So our soul, our highest self, God, they don't see time in the same way that we do. That means that they are fully aware of everything that could possibly happen, everything that is in our life plan right now. It's kind of like they have the map, right? They know the fastest way for you to get to your goals. They know the fastest way for you to manifest whatever your vision is. But most of us don't use it. Most of us don't use our internal GPS that we were given when we came here in this human experience. And I'm going to go quite deep here, guys. So I'm going to stop explaining spirituality. I'm just going to go deep with you if that's okay. Just let me know if that's okay. I'm just going to tell you how I really feel and how I see things. And I just want to say as well, don't believe anything that I say. Do not blindly trust anything that anyone tells you. Always trust your own discernment. Always trust your own inner guidance. And if something feels good for you, take it, keep it. And if something doesn't feel good, then maybe it's just not for you right now. So, up in Soul Kingdom and the other higher dimensions, there are these beings that can work with us, that can help us, that can guide us. You can connect directly to source energy. That is highest vibration, the prime creator, whatever you want to call it, God. You can connect to that. That is a great place. But we also have our guides, and we also have our soul, and we also have all these amazing things we can tap into. So how do we do that? 4 ways. 4 things I'm going to share with you. Most people, when they think about connecting with themselves, they only connect on one level. And this level is cool. This is the physical level. So you need to be connected with your physical self. I talk about this a lot in my book, which is coming out soon. And I'm also running a program at the start of January where we're going to go deep into this, but I'm going to give you the basics. So your physical self. So most people know how to look after their physical self. This body, this vehicle that we have, you need to give it the right fuel. You need to make sure it's well rested. But most people don't do that. And even when you do that, if you're not connected in the other 3 ways, you're very limited. Because, so you have your physical self. You can connect in your physical self. Take out some me time. Get that relaxation. There's loads of processes you can do to get deeply connected. You should have a breathwork practice as well. Let me know if you have a breathwork practice. That is super, super important. Lots of ways you can connect with your physical self. The second level, your mental self. This is your mind, right? And when I say mind, it's your brain. It's a part of it, but it's not who you are. It's not your whole mind. You have this thing called a mental body, which is a collection of all your thoughts. Your heart has its own mind too. So does your gut. When I learned this, this changed my whole life. Listen to this. This is crazy. The Institute of Heart Math have proven now that the human heart has 40,000 cells in it that they call sensory neurites. These cells can think, act, and learn independently of each other, similar to the neurons in our brain. But they are way more powerful because anything that goes through your brain goes through the filter of your ego. So it's not true memory. The cells in your heart, these sensory neurites, they don't work in the same way. So when you access that mental self, when you access those true memories in your heart, in those sensory neurite cells, that's when stuff gets next level. It blows up. And so you need to do certain practices to connect with your heart. And a great one, I can see someone's commented there, is meditation. Exactly. When you meditate, when you silence yourself, when you get into that quiet space, when you get into that beautiful place where there's no mind, there's no thing, there's no distractions, when you're able just to flow and just feel the energy of the universe coming through you, that's when you can really tap into the power of your heart mind. Now, I said you have your gut mind. I want to explain this one because this one's crazy. And most people don't do anything about this. Think about your gut. There are trillions of bacteria in there, living there, organisms living in there. Every single one of them has its own consciousness. Every single one. And some of them aren't so good. You have parasites, you can get all sorts of cool things in there that aren't so good for you. They literally can give you cravings through their consciousness. A trillion beings in your gut, all thinking the same thing. They can direct you and they can block you from connecting with your highest self. So I'm currently in day 2 of a 3-day water fast. And this is something that I do regularly, this fasting practice. This helps to really get you super focused and gets rid of the mind chatter, because you're not your brain, you're not those thoughts, that's not you. And as long as you associate yourself with your thoughts, you're not going to be able to connect with your highest self. So you need to learn how to disconnect from your thoughts. How do you separate who you are? Because you are not your thoughts, you are not your body, you are way more than that. And in meditation, just like you said, is a great way to get there. Now, the third level of connecting with yourself is connecting with your emotional self. I had no idea that I had an emotional self. I had no idea that I had an emotional body. I had no idea about any of this stuff. And then when I learned it, everything just made more sense. Most people are so disconnected from their emotions. Most people let their emotions come in, take them for a ride, and they identify themselves with these emotions. They say, I am angry, but you're not. You're just experiencing anger. And when you can really, again, get connected with your true self, you see these emotions are just happening. They're not who you really are. And when you can be like that, it frees you from all of that turmoil. It frees you from so much of the pain and suffering that most people feel, because you really understand that every emotion is here for a reason. Every emotion has a message, and it is actually the way that your higher self speaks to you is through emotions, because words are a very poor form of communication. Words are a very poor form of communication. That's not how God speaks to us. That's not how Source speaks to us. That's not how your soul speaks to you. They speak to you through energy, and emotions are literally energy in motion. So you need to learn, and every single one of you invest time to learn how to get connected with your emotional self. Now, the fourth level, and I'm going to wrap all this up and I'm going to make it make total sense for you. The fourth level is connecting with your spiritual self. Now, this is what we're talking about. How do you really get deeply that connection with your spirit? You must have all felt this. Let me just ask you this, and please just be honest. Have you ever had an experience where you just felt so in flow, you weren't thinking, there was no mind, and everything was just happening, but it's so magical, like you feel so good and everything just works out for you? This is what happens when you're connected to your spiritual self. This is what happens when you have that kind of connection. Let me know if you've experienced that. I'm sure most of you have, and you've probably experienced the opposite. And this is the problem, that the opposite exists where you are disconnected. This is where you're in your ego, your fear, your worry, you're anxious, you're panicking, you're stressing. And that's where most people spend most of their time. Why? Because they're not connected on these four levels, right? Because when you're connected on these four levels, maybe you have a great body, maybe you look after your health, but maybe you're missing the mental side, maybe you're missing the emotional side, maybe you're missing that connection with spirit. If you don't have all four in place, you're not going to be in that place of connection most of the time. And this flow state, this is where you want to be. Now, are you going to be there 100% of the time? I don't know anybody that is. I know some very advanced people, they still have the lows. They still experience disconnection, because everything in life is about contrast, right? Everything either shows you what you do want or what you don't want. And so when you are in that state of disconnection, it makes you really understand how amazing it is when you are connected. So let me just recap super quick. 4 levels to connecting with yourself. Firstly, your physical self. You know how to look after your physical self, but most of you just don't do it. You know that you need to put the best fuel in your body. You know you need to make sure it's well rested. Most of you don't do it. But why don't you do it? Well, the thing is, there's so much conflicting information out there. Like, who do you listen to? Some people say do a vegan diet, plant-powered, don't have any meat, that's the best way. Some people say only eat meat, don't eat any carbs, just eat meat, and that's the best way. And people get results in both. And then you're like, what do I do? Right? So I have a very simple way that I break this down for people, how to really get the most energy in your physical self, because this is what it is. It's your vehicle. You want to give it the most energy. The mental self, meditate, people. Meditate, meditate, meditate. But make sure you do it in the right way. Like, don't stress yourself out too much. Again, there's 1,000 different meditation techniques. You just need to find the ones that are right for you. And again, I can show you, if you're interested, comment below. I'll let you know how this is going to work. I can let you know all the different meditation techniques that I use, and you can just see which ones work for you. Really happy just to give that information, just to share that with you. Third level, connecting with your emotional self. Feel your emotions deeply. Allow them. Don't push them down, because this is the thing. And this is for the physics geeks, you'll know this. Energy can never be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. That's the law of conservation of energy. Now, what does that mean? If your emotions, like we're talking about, are energy, and you just keep pushing down your anger, pushing down your depression, pushing down your sadness, and I don't want to deal with it now, and you push it down, push it down, push it down, it has to go somewhere. Now, eventually, this energy becomes something more tangible, something more dense, and this is where we get illnesses, injuries, everything. And I really, when I work with my clients to do the energy clearing and the energy work with them, I've really seen every illness, every injury comes down to an energetic blockage. It comes down to an energetic imbalance. It's because of you're not listening to the messages from your highest self. And so it has to get your attention somehow. And the way it does that is by stopping you and making you give attention to whatever it is that you're ignoring. And I know that might sound harsh, but that's just how I've seen it from my sessions I do. Fourth level, spiritual self. And once you have the other three in place, it's much easier to connect with your spiritual self. But you need to make time for it. And there are so many different ways you can do this, but something really great. DNA activations. You need to look into DNA activations. Some scientists say that up to 90% of your DNA is junk DNA. That is BS. BS. Everything in the universe is intelligently designed. There is no junk in your DNA, but most people don't have their DNA activated. And so that's why they're at a very limited level of consciousness. You can activate your DNA super easy. There's lots of different techniques and things you can do. There's meditations you can do to activate your DNA. But the fastest way is to work with an energy worker like myself or someone else. And they can activate it for you, which awakens your gifts, your abilities, all this cool stuff. And it happens, boom, super quick, as fast as you let it. So let me know if that makes sense. Let me know how you're feeling about those 4 levels of connecting with yourself. And I saw some of you commenting saying you were interested in learning more about this. So that is amazing. Please just do comment below, say I'm interested, and I will let you know exactly how this will all work. But basically every year at the start of January, I run a program called Connect with Yourself. It's a 4-week online program where you get a call with me every single day. Now here's where some of you are going to be stretched. We start at 6 a.m. every day, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day together. And we are doing a technique, a process to get more connected with either our physical self, mental self, emotional self, or spiritual self. The first week is all about the physical. How do you really get most energy in your body? Second week is all about the mental. Third week is all about your emotions. And the 4th week is all about your spiritual self. Every day we are on a call together, creating good habits. Because you know, right, everything is about habits. Excellence is a habit. You have to show up. And this was a challenge for me, because unless I have someone to be accountable to, I found it very difficult to actually push myself, you know, especially when you wake up sometimes and you're tired. Like I said, I'm on day 2 of my water fast. I haven't eaten any food now for 48 hours. And I'm going to be honest, I was tired before I came on this video. And I said to my friend, I said, bro, what can I do? And so he gave me some recommendations. I did it. Boom, here I am now, full of energy, right? We all need support. So that's exactly why we support you in this container. What we also do, twice a week on a Monday and on a Thursday, we have a webinar in the evening. Now these are recorded and the morning sessions are recorded too. I create a private membership group for all of you. So if you can't make it at that exact time, you can still watch the replay. But Monday evening and Thursday evening, we do a live webinar just with the people on the program. And we will go deep, deep, deep into all this stuff. If spirituality is new for you, if science is new for you, by the end of the 4 weeks, you're going to be like, mind absolutely blown. And I'm going to share you some super deep breakthroughs as well. Like if you thought the one about time was deep, that's just baby steps. So yeah, everyone, whatever you do, if you come on our program, great. If you don't, great. Look up those 4 things. Connect with your physical self, your mental self, your emotional self, and your spiritual self. Do the steps that we've talked about in here, and your whole life will change so fast, as fast as you let it. And I just want to end with this. I really believe with every fiber of my being that you can be, do, or have anything in this lifetime that you can imagine. If you can really imagine it and really feel it as if it's happening right now, and if it feels good for you to go towards that, you have been given that desire for a reason. And the only thing stopping you from reaching that is yourself. It's your blockages. You're either blocked on a physical level, a mental level, an emotional level, or a spiritual level. And once you get rid of those blockages, everything will flow so much quicker. It's kind of like a pipe, right? You've got these pipes, but you've got these blockages. Nothing can come through. The abundance of the universe can't come through for you, and you need to clear it. Now, are you going to clear all your blocks in these 4 weeks? I don't know. Hopefully, let's set that intention. But for me, it's been an ongoing journey now. I've been doing personal development since I was 18, which is 12 years ago. And every year, I'm learning more, I'm growing more. Like 3 years ago, if you started telling me about spirituality, I would have thought you were crazy. But in the last 3 years, I have gone deep into this stuff. And I really invite you all, do the same. Science and spirituality are the same thing. Science is catching up with spirituality now so much. We can prove pretty much everything that people used to think we were crazy for. So that's it. Go out there, find your own truth. Figure out what is true for you, and then let me know. And I look forward to seeing your videos. And if you are interested in becoming a speaker and maybe learning how to create your own programs, join us at our Standout Speakers Academy. We run events every week in London. We have online courses, and we are here to help you stand out. If you want to get in front of thousands, millions of people, if you want to be on TV, radio, magazines, speaking all around the world, get in touch. The crazier you are, the better, because that means you're going to stand out. All right, have an amazing night. I love you all so much. I look forward to working with some of you, and the rest of you, go out there, find your own practice, find what works for you. And just remember that every day, just do one thing. Every day, just do one thing to get more connected physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. And in a year, that's 365 days, think about how connected you will be. Right, take care. Lots of love.